Meditation coupled with music and inside this great pyramid and in front of so many great spiritual scientists in these great vibrations, you cannot ask anything more than this. Whenever you want to get charged, you must go into meditation. In your worldly activity, in your physical activity, in your mental activity, in your intellectual activity, you have to expend a lot of energy to get the work done. When you are doing work, the energy is getting discharged. And gradually you will come at a low point of energy. Then that is the time for you to recharge yourself through closing your eyes and observing your breathing. Normal, natural, easy, soft, simple, tender, peaceful, tranquil breathing. Like you charge your cell phone, your battery, the whole system is there in the wall, current. Then the socket is there, then you plug in, and the energy gets into your system in the cell phone. Similarly, there's a whole cosmic web of energy is there, and this breath is the socket. The mind has to plug in. When the mind gets plugged into the socket of the breath, then it is connected to the whole energy grid of the whole cosmos, and you get energy, all the energy, whenever you want. So from time to time, as you charge your cell phone, from time to time you charge your soul by becoming one with the breath. The science of meditation says when you are with the breath, the mind becomes empty. The mind is the barrier between outside energy and body's energy. So when the mind becomes empty, that outside energy flows into the body. No doctor, no medicine, nothing is required. We are all gods. So, right from headache to cancer, all things would vanish once you are sitting comfortably and closing your eyes and observing your breathing. No mantras whatsoever. Om Bhurbhava Tassavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. No mantras. La ilahi illallah Muhammadul Rasulullah. No voice from the mouth. No images in the mind. This is the pyramid. The nose is the pyramid. Go into the pyramid. And the breath is the link between this energy and the vast energy. So when you are with the breath, the vast energy, they flow into the body's vessel and all problems vanish, A to Z. All questions are answered, A to Z. You just need to close your eyes in your own home. And keep observing the breathing. The mind wanders, but bring it back to the breath. Again, the mind wanders, but bring it back to the breath. After some time of this ding-dong battle, then you stay with the breath. The science of meditation is the mother of all other sciences. The science of the spirit is the source of all other sciences of matter. Everything is psychosomaticity. That is what we learn in spiritual science field. There are four verities: matter, energy, thought, and consciousness. E is equal to mc square, matter is energy, we all know that. Now, energy is produced whenever your thought, energy is directed wherever your thought. Who directs energy? Where does the energy flow? Wherever you want it to flow, it will flow there. The thought guides the energy. And if you want to maximize the energy, you must remove the thought and go into the consciousness. That's how you maximize your energy, and using your thoughts, using your intentions, you direct the flow of energy wherever you want. We want a big pyramid, the pyramid will come. Our thought is directed to the whole humanity should become vegetarian, it will become vegetarian. That's where we are channeling our energies to, by our intent. Our thoughts give shape and direction to our energies. When you go beyond the thought into the pure consciousness, then you maximize your energies. So these are the four fundamental verities: matter, energy, thought, and consciousness. We are all pure consciousness. We are all individual consciousnesses, plus we are all one mega group consciousness. When you understand that you are not this physical body, you are a pure consciousness, that is called as self-realization. When you understand that the same self that is here, that's everywhere, that's a mega self, then that is God realization. You are that, not this. When Moses went up to the hill, a voice came from the fire. Moses asked, "Who are you? What are you?" Then the voice said, "I am that I am." We are not this I am, we are that I am. Although we are the vast mega self, we also exist simultaneously in a paradoxical way as an individual consciousness. And while in the physical body, we have a mind, which is not an illusion, which is an instrument for us to use, manage things while we are in the physical body. That portion of soul which is extended into the body, controls the body, is called as the mind. We are the body. From that level to, we are the self, soul, Atma, until we are everything. This is the transition. Once you reach that stage, your personal growth is over. Then you help others. How do you help others? You help others not by healing but by teaching. When you are healing others, you are doing their homework. When you are doing others' homework, then they become dependent upon you. You must make them independent. You should yourself become independent. You must make others independent. You got independence through your meditation, and you have to teach meditation to others so that they become independent of you or anybody. Nobody should do the homework of anybody else. We should teach them, educate them, but the homework has to be done by every soul. Their karma, they have to remove it. Very rare emergency cases, a little help can be given as an exception, but not as a rule. So, in the pyramid spiritual societies movement, we don't heal anybody. Nor we think about healing ourselves. No. If I got cancer, I have to have cancer. There's a reason for that cancer. If I have to have headache, I will have headache. There's a reason for that headache. If I have to die now, I will die now. There's a reason for the departure. So in meditation, we are in meditation, that's all. What happens, happens. What doesn't happen, doesn't happen. What happens is perfectly all right. What doesn't happen is perfectly all right. We don't make any.
Hello, my dear friends, my dear masters, my dear gods, my dear lovely, lovely, lovely people all around the globe, whoever is watching here and who is watching us on YouTube. It's been a tremendous journey. The holistic Buddha journey has been really overwhelming, with lots of people wanting to have a better lifestyle, better health, better mind, better emotions. So we have learned so many things over here. And just now we have heard Patriji talking about healing, talking about becoming independent, talking about doing our own homework. So we need to do our own homework, and that is what we are here for, to do our own homework without depending on anyone. Whatever I am going through, it's my karma. Whatever you are going through, it's your karma. Everyone has their own karma, and that is your homework. And that homework can be done through meditation, through Swadhyaya, which is self-study, reading books, and Sajjana Sangatya, which is sharing of experiences, which he has perfectly laid down for all of us to follow. And in this, plant-based living also plays a vital role, for which we are here to assist you, including meditation also in that. So my dear friends, let us all focus on the essentials, focus on being cause-oriented, focus on what is necessary, focus on solutions rather than talking hours and hours and hours about problems. We can talk hours, we can talk days, we can take years to talk about problems. But that is not what we need to focus at. Patriji just said that we need to focus on what needs to be done. Let's focus on solutions rather than problems. Let us focus on what needs to be done rather than what has went wrong. So my dear friends, let us all meditate now. And we are all on the way to become a holistic Buddha. We just started the journey. Please find yourself a comfortable place to sit in meditation. Take off your spectacles, as we don't need them. Hold your legs or cross your feet. Clasp your hands. Close your eyes and start observing your normal, natural, beautiful, wonderful, soft, smooth, easy, simple breath. No thoughts whatsoever. No chanting of mantras, no imaginations, nothing. Let us focus on what needs to be done. Let us focus on what action has to be taken. The mindset, the attitude, the solutions. What is there in your hand right now? In meditation, you get cosmic energy and channel those cosmic energies into what needs to be done, what is necessary, what is essential at that moment. Let's become the cause of something beautiful. Let's become the cause of health, beauty, joy, freedom, gratitude. Let's focus on the causes, and the results will follow. Keep observing your breath, my dear friends. Ana-Pana-Sati. Ana means inhale. Apana means exhale. Sati means to be with. Just be with your breath, my dear friend. Relax your body. Get into a deep relaxation state. Relax yourself. Just keep concentrating on your breath.
Slowly come back to your body's awareness, masters. Observe your body. Open both your palms and place them over your eyes for 10 seconds. Gently open your eyes. I hand over to Master Smita to take over the further session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anita. Let me just share my screen first. Okay, welcome back to day 9, week 2. So until today, we have actually learned why we have to go plant-based, what are the various options when we why we have to go plant-based, and then we also understood why we shouldn't, what are the harmful effects of animal foods on a majority of the population. So today we will be talking about if we have conveyed to you saying, okay, please switch to plant-based diet, and then if you are still a vegetarian or if you're still a non-vegetarian, then these are some of the options you can actually make at home. So today's PDF I will be sharing on the group as well, because it has some links that I'll be sharing, and you can take it forward and you can take some of the things. I will not be sharing, rather I'll not be demoing any recipes to you, because it's a very short time to make any, prepare any recipes and show you. But then as you start making these, I'll give you all the tips and details as to how to make these things. Okay, so just pay attention to the to what I'm saying, and also when you check those links that I have shared, of course there are plenty on Google as well. If you check these things, check the links as well, you should be able to get a good hang of how to start doing it. Okay, so let's start. Before that, I would like to thank Brahmarshi Pitamaha Patriji for this beautiful platform, and Parinita for giving us this opportunity to share my knowledge. And it's such a blessing and such a great opportunity to be a part of such a good change in the world, where I'm becoming an instrument to spreading plant-based lifestyle to so many lives. Thank you. Okay, we will start with plant-based milks. Okay, so there are so many, I will not talk about why we are not consuming animal-based milks today. I'll just only talk about plant-based milks. So there are various such options when it comes to milks. There are people who see all of these nuts. Okay, like for example, the actual nuts like almonds, walnut, many seeds like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, including even beans for that matter. Your soybean, peanut is also a legume. Okay, so peanut milk. Then you also have all of these cowpea that you get, right? Cowpea can also be made into milk. So there are lots of such options where you can just put water in them, grind them, filter them, and that actually becomes milk. For example, let's take the example of coconut milk. Coconut milk is very popular in India. I have used coconut milk very extensively. I was a vegan baker before. I was a professional baker before as well. So I have used a lot of coconut milk in my baking profession. And I never bought my coconut milk, majorly because I wanted to be sure about the quality of milk that I make and put it into my cakes. So coconut milk, the way to do coconut milk, some of these tips you may not hear outside. So just pay attention. So the way I do coconut milk is I make them into pieces. I take fresh coconut and then I piece them up. I usually make pieces of the pulp of the coconut, and then I typically store them in the refrigerator, not the fridge, but the freezer, because I don't use on a daily basis so much of coconut. So what I do is I put them in the freezer, and then whenever I want, I just take it out. I soak them in hot water. When we soak even fresh coconut pieces or frozen coconut pieces that I have put in the freezer into hot water, it actually comes back to room temperature, of course, and it also loosens up the the bonding and cellular structure and whatever it is inside actually loosens up, and then they tend to the milk tends to be a lot more richer. So soak it for about 10-15 minutes, and then you can use a blender or a mixie, whatever you have at home. And then let's say if the coconuts have come till this point, just put water till this point, just above that. So when you put water just above that, then it actually makes a nice thick milk. Of course, you can thin it down later. But if you make a thin milk already, then what happens? You can't actually thicken it later. So what I do is I make a thick milk first. And then on top of that, if based on need basis, I basically thin it down with, again, some more water. So you grind it for about, let's say, 5 minutes. It has to keep running for about 5 minutes, or based on the capacity of your mixer or a blender. And then you take a nut milk bag. There is something called the nut milk bag that you get on Amazon. You can get cloth-based nut milk bags, or you can also get nylon nut milk bags. Whatever is available to you, you can use that. They are all reusable. If you take a regular sari or something like that, or a dhoti cloth or something like that, they will tear. So please don't use those things, and you can't use that in the long run. And over a period, what happens? They also develop fungus. So please don't use any of those things. Just invest in a proper nut milk bag, and then start squeezing the coconut milk. So that is milk. Okay, now this milk doesn't need boiling. It doesn't need pasteurization and all that, because this is not coming from a cow. So it is a ready to use milk. But let's say if there are people who are still yet to wean from their dairy coffee or dairy tea and all that, so this can go into the coconut, this can go into coffees or teas. So now to make coffee, we have decoction, and then we have milk. Now, let's say if please don't use sugar, you can use jaggery initially until you wean off all of those things. You can use jaggery. I have a disclaimer. So if you're using, I don't know what are your conditions. So please, whether you're using jaggery or not using jaggery, that is your choice for now. I'm just giving a generic thing. So decoction is there, jaggery is there. You just boil it until a very hot temperature. Then take coconut milk, stir it on the gas, keep stirring it, because because these are all plant-based milks, right? So the more you can't boil these milks. When you boil the milks, they will separate from their water content. So what we should do, we should keep the gas in medium or sim or something like that, and then keep stirring it until you reach that coffee temperature or whatever, and then mix that with the decoction, and then that's it. So it will need a lot more milk compared to dairy milk to actually give you that proper light consistency of a light color of the coffee. Most of the plant-based milks, it has to be very thick and creamy for it to actually give a nice pale color. If you're okay with a slight darker color and all that, then it's okay. So your milk should be richer. Almond milk also, similarly, you can do. See, one more thing about coconut milk is, if you're, let's say the coconut copra itself is in the fridge, if it's kept in the fridge, don't directly take cold stuff and then put water in it and then grind it. It is actually going to release oil, and this milk will spoil overnight, or even maybe in one day. So the way, about 3 to 4 days, you can keep the coconut milk in a glass bottle in the fridge. So that's about coconut milk. Almond milk, soak it for about 6 hours. Don't soak for a very long time. What I prefer is, if I soak almonds, then I soak it and keep it in the fridge itself. In the fridge only, overnight it will soak. whether I'm keeping 6 hours or 8 hours, then since it's in the fridge, it's not actually deteriorating very fast. So it will be sitting in the fridge, and then I take it out. Here, it doesn't matter whether it is hot water used or cold water used, because for almond, it doesn't matter. For coconuts, it actually matters. So here again, after it is brought out of the fridge, typically I use a new water. I use new water. I discard that almond water. I use new water, and then I basically make the milk. Usually I don't do a lot of measure. I don't measure my water and all that. But then these recipes that I've shared, they have a measure of water also. But the process and some tips is what I'm actually sharing with you. So almonds, don't over soak them, because again, they will also release oils, and then over time the milk will spoil. And all of these things are preservative free, so it's going to spoil fast. Whatever spoils fast is actually very good. Whatever doesn't spoil fast is actually very bad, because if it is not spoiling very fast and you put that non-spoiling thing inside your body, which means you have ingested preservatives. So there's this research that has been made that in America, the dead bodies are not even decomposing, because they are eating so much of preservative-driven food that the dead bodies which have so much of preservatives are also, the germs are also not going to decompose them. So it is a very slow process of decomposition, apparently, in the graveyards that they've buried them. So hence, it's very important for you to understand that even these preservatives actually, apart from spoiling our health, it also has a problem with the dead body as well. So that is about almond milk. Oat milks also can be made in a similar process. You can just grind oats with the water and then extract that milk. That will become oat milk. Then any other nut-based milk like walnut milk can be made. Then you can make even melon seeds milk, soy milk. Soy milk, again, you'll have to see soy milk and peanut milk and all. Soy milk especially, you have to soak them for a very long time, and then you'll have to keep changing the waters. Sometimes they will have also some amount of smell. So when you soak them longer, if you have to soak them, let's say for 24 hours, if you have to soak them for 24 hours, then in between you have to change the water. It's best that you keep all this 24 hours in the fridge, and in between that change of water, you can change and again keep it back in the fridge, because why it needs a change of water is that some amount of fermentation will start. So for long-term soaking, or if you don't have time to monitor it and all of those things, please let it soak inside the fridge. Okay, except coconut. Let's say you had to soak the coconut milk and coconut and put it in the fridge. Let's say that is also a case. Then you bring it out, remove that cold water, again put hot water for about 10 minutes, soak it, and then only start the grinding process. Okay, so coconut milk is very sensitive to warm. They need warm and such kind of water for the milk to be extracted well. Okay, so that's about plant-based milks. I don't think there's anything else to say here. Okay. So plant-based curd. Okay, so this is something that is very close to our heart, especially for South Indian people. So peanut curd to make any curd, especially, you need something solid. There has to be a pulpy thing inside the curd, inside the ingredient that you're making for curd. For example, peanut has some amount of pulp. Soy has some amount of pulp. Cashew has pulp. But what about coconut? When you make coconut milk, does it come a little thick? No, it doesn't come thick. It is still like juice, isn't it? It may be a slightly thicker juice, but it is still milk. But when you take peanut itself, see, why do we use peanuts and all of these things for chutneys? They become thick, but they also have that pulpy nature. So when you're making curd, you should ensure that you make curd with a pulpy item. If you don't have a pulpy item, let's say, for example, coconut. With coconut, you need a pulpy item to make it. Otherwise, it will still become curd. You can't call it curd. It will probably be called coconut buttermilk. So all of these things you should remember. These are all tips to understand to understand whether this will eventually become milk or it will become curd. So it is more like a understanding, kitchen understanding. Okay. So how do we make peanut curd? If you have access to some of these places, there are companies in Bangalore who make peanut curd. Of late, I'm actually not making curd because I don't have the time. Plus, I don't want to manage all that pulp. It's a lot of pulp that comes out of these peanut curds. Plus, I have adults at home, almost adults at home. So they eat a lot of these things. So I can't really make a lot. So what we do is we buy milk, we buy curd only from Good Milk or One Good company. And I've been buying for a very long time now. Initially, I used to make, but now I don't make. These days, I don't make. So the way to make peanut curd is, so again, you'll have to soak it for a very long time. So typically 24 hours is best to soak with change of water. So that water you have to discard. Whatever soaking water you use, that you can discard. Then use again some fresh water and then grind it. And then extract the milk, you'll get peanut milk. Now what you have to do, you will have to start slowly heating it like milk. You'll have to get into a boiling state. So it has to continue to keep boiling, but because it has pulpy nature, it will burn if you don't stir. It will actually burn it will go and get stuck to the bottom like this sambar and all, dal sambar and all. If you just leave it and then keep it on the gas, what happens? It actually burns. So, so like that, this also will burn. So you'll have to keep stirring like this. And then it will actually become slightly thick. How do you know that it is ready and it is thick? When you keep stirring, whatever spoon you're using, right? And then you remove that spoon like this, it will actually get coated. It will get coated like ice cream. Or let's say some amount of lotion or something like that. It will look like that. So then you can switch off the gas and allow it to rest until it comes to lukewarm temperature. And then you put what? You put chili crowns, green chili crowns. Green chili, that stick will be there, so that crown. You put that crown. Multiple crowns, let's say 20, 30 crowns you can put. Then what will happen? At least 15 crowns also you can put. So that chili's crown's bottom actually has, what do you say, cultures, they have bacteria. So that is a healthy prebiotic bacteria. So that will start the process of fermentation, which means that those bacteria will be there, but over time when the life goes away, because we've already cooked it and all that, right? So the life would have already gone. So it will have a shelf life now. Now, as the shelf life starts degrading, what happens? It will start to go into that fermentation process. So now the chili crowns are also there, and there is bacteria. So over time, what will happen? This will start a process, and then that's while it is spoiling, there is also this probiotic bacteria that will just get generated there because it is spoiling. So over time, this will become curd. Now there are people who also add rice to it, like cashew and cooked rice or raw rice. Basically, they mix these two, and then they also make curd. Because cashews, using a lot of cashews is very heavy on a daily basis. So people mix rice also and make curd. Personally, I don't prefer cooked rice curd because typically if we make curd, we tend to keep it at least for 2-3 days and all that, right? So I don't like to eat rice on a daily basis when it is sitting over in the fridge and all that. So that is why I don't make rice-based curd. But peanut curd, they have made and they send it, so I just do it. Soy curd also I don't use so much. Yeah, soy curd also I don't use so much because I personally feel there is an aftertaste. Plus, there is a word that soy has GMO and all of those things. So either way, because of the taste and all of those things, plus there are people who make soy curd, but then since One Good as a company was much reachable and much available, I just started that. So you can see what works for you. At least to go plant-based over a period of time, you may not need curd because over time you will just get over all of these kind of cravings, replacement, alternatives, all of these things will go away from your dictionary. because over a period of time, you just feel like having raw and dips and this and that. You'll just feel like going more towards natural stuff. And maybe once in a way, you might have it like with pulao or something like that. But yeah, so this curd, these plant-based curds can be used to make that more kodumbu we make, right? The majge huli or more kodumbu, curry. Then it can also be used to make raitas. Whatever you use curd for, you can actually use it for this plant-based curd can be used for that. So that I don't think there is any recipe where it said, okay, I can't use this curd because it is coming from a plant. So I have been a plant-based person right from 2012. And when I started my journey, nothing was available in the market also. So I have basically experimented a whole lot. And plus I was also a baker, and I had also started doing, I was a vegetarian baker initially, and then over time I moved over to vegan baking, and then over time healthy vegan baking and all of those things. So I've done a lot of experiments with food and healthy food, and I've converted recipes, any kind of recipes I've converted to the way I wanted and all that. So in that sense, I think peanut curd can be used very nicely. And people who are on a conscious diet, who are on a fat-free diet and all of those things, where peanut curd could also be slightly on the fatter side, you can actually use something called tender coconut curd, which over time comes into raw categories. It is a very, very simple instant curd. So now you get tender coconut in the market, right? So this tender coconut, that malai, the tender coconut meat, very tender one, you can actually take it, put it in the mixie, adds, what does curd have? It has tanginess, right? So what do? We put some lemon inside that, and then it actually becomes a very nice curd, because now that pulp, tender coconut also has some pulp coming in it, right? So that also goes very well as a curd replacement. So when you are new to some of these things, you can add some ginger, you can add some curry patta or curry leaves to it. It becomes a nice masala curd. So if you're using peanut curd and all of those things for the first time, you can actually add all those flavors just to mask the peanut flavors will not be that much, but initially you can mask those flavors, and over time you'll get used to it. If you're making it at home, first time it will not be very sour. As you use that batch of starter so that will become curd after 8 hours or something like that. Next, take a part of that, and that will become the starter for the next curd batch. So like this, if you keep continuing the starter, next, over time, what will happen? That curd will actually become nice and tasty. Until then, initially, it will not be that tasty. So if you need some amount of sourness to that, you can add lemon. To anything, to any plant-based curd, you can add lemon. It will actually heighten the taste a lot. Okay, so this is about, what do you say? Curd. Okay, coming to nut butters. Nut butters are very, very fancy in the plant-based world, but please be very, very careful about you overdoing the nut butters, because it's from a health point of view, it is not good. It is going to really tax your liver a lot, because just imagine if I have, let's say, 1 kg of peanuts, that will make about less than about 500 ml sort of peanut butter, and it's a very tasty stuff. Okay, all these butters are very tasty. They are all power packed and they are very tasty. So what people do is they tend to overdo, because it's anyway just coming, like a lot of peanuts will come in 1 spoon. Peanut worth will come into 1 spoon. So people tend to overeat it, and then it is a very, very, it gives a lot of constipations in people, and even the, that alkalinity ratio is also very, the acidity number for that is actually very high. So these are all very acidic stuff. Okay, so the way to do it for example, let's say you want to fry some, you eat a lot of, let's say, fried food for what is that, festivals and all. Instead of that, you can maybe, for the same recipe of that fried food item, you can add some coconut butter or peanut butter or almond butter, 1 or 2 spoons, and then you can actually put it in the oven and bake it. That is a better option compared to frying in oil. So in such cases, it's okay. But then always trying to eat peanut butter because it's very tasty is actually going to harm the body a whole lot. So go very easy on peanut butter or coconut butter, because just think, how much of peanuts can I eat in one go? If I can't eat so much of peanuts in one go, I obviously cannot feed on so much of coconut butters also in one go. You might eat because it's just 1 spoon, but for the body, it's very overwhelming because it understands what is 1 spoon of butter. So don't overdo all of these butters. It's also very high in fats. People who are going through a lot of health issues will already have a liver that is suffering. So when you put all of this also, the liver will suffer even more, even though it is plant-based. So when you think about plant-based and you go and look up on the internet how to make recipes and things like that, you will only find olive oil everywhere. You will find all these butters everywhere. You will find soy sauces, tamaris, and all these fermented sauces all over the place. In every single recipe, you have the same colors running around everywhere. So you need to pay attention to understand what is actually good for me and my body. And I'll share some links also that you can refer to. Okay. So this is the way to do all these butters, is basically fry them, roast them slightly. When you roast them, the oils will slightly melt inside them, and basically they'll get activated. And then what happens? Typically, it's best you use a food processor to get a nice and creamy jam-like, whatever flavor, jam-like consistency. Or if you use a mixie, it takes a long time. You have to keep scraping. So in this process, what is actually happening is, when it is corn, when that nuts and or the legume, in this case peanut, is constantly ground like that in a food processor or in a mill. There are people who actually have mills also to make in a large scale quantity. If you're making in large scale quantities, there are people who use wet grinders also for these things. But if you're not using it on a large scale basis, wet grinders will not be necessary. So yeah, like that, people basically do it. I don't know how they do it, but wet grinder part, I don't know, but they use it. What will happen is, as it keeps running like this, the oils will get released, and the oil itself will be used like a liquid to grind it. So that is, so they don't add extra oil to it. In the market, when you take all of these, in case you buy all of these things, whether it is a milk or a curd or this, watch what other ingredients have been added. Is it just coconut? Is it just peanut? Or is it just almond? Or some stabilizer? Or this preservative? Or this or that? There are so many things like natural flavors, artificial flavors. They call it natural flavor. Okay, natural flavor is also a flavor that has been manufactured. It is not like, let's say if they say orange flavor, natural orange flavor or something. It's not like orange has been chopped off and then put into that or something like that, or orange has been extracted and put into that. It is basically something close to manufacturing, but then manufacturing something very close to natural, but it is still not natural. So these really feed a lot of scavengers in the body. And all these stabilizers, thickening agents, all of these ingredients which starts with E, they start with I, all of these things are there, and they're all for the FSSAI, there are all these rules. Okay, so you need to be very careful when you're buying it from outside, because when the manufacturers are selling it, they want it on the shelf. They have to sit on the shelf. These things are shelf stable. You don't have to keep it in the fridge, but still for them, they need to have it for a longer shelf period. So watch what they put inside that. Butter, curd also, even if you buy curd, except for some yeast cultures, There should not be anything else in it. Thickeners and all of those things should not be there. If it is there, it is best not to buy it. Even milk, if you buy almond milk, coconut milk and all of those things from outside, you will have all these things. So I suggest that it is best to make it at home. It is cheaper and it is very cheap. See, coconut is what? Yeah, 35 rupees. And you get aramse about 700 ml of milk. In the market, it is much, much expensive. And I think thick coconut milk is 250, 300 rupees. Okay, so it is best to make coconut milk at home. And curd also you can definitely buy, but then watch your watch the ingredients. Butters also. Buttermilk, and see, I told you about buttermilk. So peanut curd buttermilk also can be done. You just have to put water to that curd and then thin it down for the same buttermilk recipe, whatever typical buttermilk recipe you use. Coconut buttermilk also can be made from tender coconut, which I told you. Just take the tender coconut malai, put it in the blender, add some flavoring agents and lemon and all of those things. It'll actually become a tender coconut buttermilk. Coconut buttermilk, if you have coconut milk also, that coconut milk can also be, that coconut milk you add some lemon and you add whatever flavors you want, that also becomes coconut buttermilk. So it is very easy to make some of these things and they are very, very close to animal-based stuff. See, when you're basically changing your lifestyle, right, you should not always look for a one-on-one copy, like one-on-one replica of each of the foods that you're eating. Because at that time, then the mind will constantly be looking for a match. And when there is no match, whether it is in terms of taste or flavor or whatever, you will feel disappointed and you will say that I'm not able to quit this tea because of this reason. And when we say, did you use almond milk or did you use coconut milk or something, then they'll say, yeah, I tried, but it is not very satisfying. Why? Because there is a one-on-one comparison going on. In nature, how can two items be the same way? If it was the same way, then it is obviously redundant, right? So they will never be the same. It's your mind that has to decide, okay, I need this for my lifestyle change. So yeah, I better, if I want, you can quit tea. If you don't like the taste, it's better you quit tea. Or you need to be sure why I need my plant-based lifestyle. So there is a way, that there is a reason that your mind should understand that it's okay, these are the deviations. But today I'm not used to it because I don't have a habit. But as I continue to consume it, I'll get used to it because my mind is only a bunch of habits, that's all. We are just a creature of habits. We are nothing more than that. So you just have to make a new habit and over time that habit will be your new habit. And it will no longer remain. So for example, I changed in 2012 and today I don't crave for any of those animal milks. And my in-laws and all of those people are still on vegetarian lifestyle. So in case when they come home, I give them coconut milk coffee only. But let's say they come for an extended period and all that, they may prefer, if they are preferring animal-based curd or something like that, I don't fight with them saying in my house only this will work and all that. For me, harmony is more important. So I'll talk about social relationships and how to build it and how to manage and all that in one more lesson, sorry, one more class. But I'm just saying that don't make a one-on-one comparison in your head. Just understand that it is coming for your good, and then have that willingness and open-mindedness to be changing to many of these things that are coming to you. Next one is plant-based sweets. So typically it's best, I told you, not to use oils in your thing like coconut oil. Even to make plant-based sweets, it's best not to use any oils. These days when you go to vegan foods and vegan stuff outside, they are also equally unhealthy. Yeah, once in a way, maybe if you think that, oh, I'm changing from a non-vegetarian lifestyle to a vegetarian lifestyle, maybe once in a way is okay. But please understand, if you go out there in the market, even vegan stuff is not very healthy. So this class or this workshop is specially handled to teach you all what is health in the plant-based world. Every single plant-based person is not healthy. Okay, it is just that if they make healthy choices in the plant-based lifestyle, then they will be healthy. If you just maintain a plant-based lifestyle, it doesn't mean that you're healthy. They also get the same diseases that people get in other lifestyles like non-vegetarian or vegetarian lifestyle, because people eat maida also, people eat fried chips also. they eat so much of junk and all that in the name of saving animals or living a plant-based lifestyle. So please be very mindful about even if you choose a plant-based lifestyle, you need to be very careful that I need to maintain my health also. Let the animals be okay, but in between I have to also maintain my health and make healthy choices. We have also given you a lot of content about what is healthy. So read your labels. If you're buying it from outside, read your labels. Don't put anything in the mouth that you cannot pronounce or you cannot understand what that is all about in that ingredients list. So usually the way ingredients are listed is the most, the quantity that has been most used in that ingredient list will be coming in the beginning. Sometimes sugar will be the first thing that they will list on some of these ingredient lists. Let's say that it is let's say jowar biscuit or something. But then sugar will be the first thing that they will list, or jaggery will be the first thing that they will list. So you'll have to be very careful about what you are investing your thing into. In the name of plant-based, please don't put yourself into junk food. Okay, so make sweets at home. Almost the same sweets can be made at home unless they are very dairy rich and all of those things. So typically you can use coconut milk. It actually really enhances the flavor. Almond milk also enhances the flavor. Wherever milk has been used, you can replace that with coconut milk and almond milk. And wherever sugar has been used, occasionally replace it with some organic jaggery. See, regular yellow color jaggery that you get, it is treated with sulfur. That is why it doesn't spoil at all. But if you go to nati jaggery or yellow dark jaggery, if you touch it with water, next day only it will be, you will see fungus on top of it. Like that is why you have to buy something that is authentic, and regularly whatever we get in grocery shops are all yellow color. And that yellow color jaggery will not at all spoil because they have added a lot of sulfur and preservatives to it. So that is something that you need to be mindful about, investing in the right foods. So sweets can be made. Typically, they use a lot of oils and all of those things in sweets. So you don't need anything. For example, let me give you an example of, let's say, semia or this kheer that they say, right? Kheer. What is it called? Vermicelli kheer. Okay. Now, I typically don't use wheat, and I've given you the reasons about gluten-free diets and all of those things. So I use rice-based stuff. So we get that in the market. So I look at my ingredients and all that. If rice and starch and things like that will be typically there, no preservatives and all that. There are plenty on Amazon. So you can look up some of these things, and then you don't even have to roast these things, like how wheat, bambino and all that we get, right? That needs to be roasted. So this doesn't need any roasting. So what I do, I cook it in water, and then like how we make pasta. Similarly, I cook it in water and then I get it out. It is cooked. Now you can actually put that into coconut milk, and then put some coconut milk and jaggery and all of those things. See, coconut milk don't put initially. Take water and jaggery, cook it, and then put the sevai also, or this vermicelli also. Let it get cooked, let it nicely blend together. Put the coconut milk in the end, and then just give it one boil. That's enough. Don't keep boiling the coconut milk or almond milk, because they will separate from that water. They will become like curdled. Of course, when you shake it and all that, they will again come back together, but it will actually not look like milk at all. So it is best that you put coconut milk and jaggery. If they are together for a very long time, they will curdle. So you'll have to just put that coconut milk in the end. They'll curdle, especially when you boil them together. So put it in the end, and then let it come to one boil, and then switch it off. You can put a lot of elaichi powder. So no need of ghee and all of those things for any sweets. I've been making sweets for a very long time. Even my non-vegan relatives also have eaten it. I've made festival foods and lots of things for bhog also. And people have not commented on anything, and they really relish what I cook. And none of these things have oil. None of these things have, so they are very elaichi predominant. And then even nuts also I don't fry, because it's just a waste of dry roasting. So I just put it directly into that, and they actually get a very nice flavor, because in sweets, the best thing that actually comes out is elaichi, or the cardamom. So coconut milk and cardamom and all of those things really stands out in your things. But yeah, sometimes if you have to, let's say, make halwa and all of those things where you can't use coconut milks per se, then you can actually use some amount of almond powder and all of those things and make it slightly rich. So overall, think in this angle, and you should be able to convert most of the sweets. Over time, as you get more and more experience, you'll be getting ideas. Like for example, I've tried kada prasad and all of those things in buckwheat flour. I've tried moong dal halwa. So I'll share my Instagram profile with you all. It has more than maybe close to 1,000 recipes now. So you can actually do a lot of such plant-based stuff in that. Only thing is you have to have the patience to go through that. And I also have a YouTube channel that I opened recently in February that may not have as much as what is there on Instagram. But then Instagram, if you continue to browse for recipes, you'll get a lot. So there are many such sites. I'll share some of those sites. Paneer and cheese replacement. It's best to replace paneer with tofu. It is very close. You can also make chickpea tofu. It is there in some of the Southeast Asian countries like Thailand and all that. They make with chickpea flour. Okay. So cheese also, typically all these, the way to make tofu, you can make it at home or you can buy it outside. Again, look at the ingredients in the sachet, and then you will have some cultures in that. But typically it should be okay. But if you make it at home, you will find recipes on the internet. You can actually make tofu at home also. So the way to make cashew cheese is soak the cashew, and then you'll anyway get cashew paste after grinding it with some amount of water, whatever you need for the blending or in the mixie. Then how does it get that cheesy flavor? So you get something called nutritional yeast, that is basically dead yeast yeast dead body that is eventually extracted industrially. That apparently also gives a cheesy flavor. Many vegans use that. But what I do is I add little bit of mustard seeds while grinding. That actually also gives a cheesy flavor. And you can also add some lemon to give a little bit of a tang. And if you're using it for some pizza or something like that, homemade pizzas, you can put some Italian seasoning to that cashew cheese also, and you can basically use it on the pizzas. So you can so these cashew cheeses and all of those things, even for baked potato. I don't fry potatoes and all of those things. I put it in the oven. So oven is a very good investment. Air fryer is a very good investment for people who are making all of these fancy things. Oven and air fryer basically helps you to remove any frying and any of those things. So any amount of roasting can happen in the oven. So you can invest in a good oven, and then you can avoid all kinds of frying stuff. We make in my channel, you'll be seeing a lot of baked stuff, which I use for my children. So you can see the recipes there. So this is how cashew cheese is made. Typically, when we do pizzas and all of that, we just make some jowar roti or bajra roti, or let's say buckwheat rotis or something. And then we make it till that kadak level, until it is very hard. In the oven only you can make, or you can make it on the tawa also. And just spread homemade tomato sauce, put whatever vegetables you want. If you're not putting it inside the oven, you can also roast the vegetables, dry roast the vegetables, put it on that. And then you can add this cashew cheese, put a lot of Italian seasoning. It will definitely become a very nice pizza. See, pizza, you should understand what is it that is very interesting in pizza. It is that Italian flavors. So when you bring that Italian flavors to even our simple rotis, it actually tastes very well. So we hardly, I mean, I don't know when was the last time we invested in a pizza also, maybe before my children became plant-based, went plant-based. So we don't go to invest in all of those things at all because they are very, very unhealthy. It's best to make many things at home. It's just that you have to be a little more creative and be willing to invest in health and not this. And of course, we do need time. In the past, our ancestors used to be relatively healthy, majorly because they used to invest time in their own health. Today, there are working mothers and also working for many social services, social causes, and also taking care of children. So we should not end up in that state where we are spoiling our health and then investing in fast foods. So yeah, it's best that we are healthy and vibrating at a very high state to help earth, to help people around you. If you are vibrating at a very high state and very clean and all of those things, obviously people around you also will be healthy. So oil-free cooking, okay, this is one of the things that you have to start trying. So what is, let's forget about puris that we deep fry in oil and all that. So apart from that, what do we use oil for? Only in tadka, right? Tadka and maybe frying onion or frying any vegetable or something like that. So, so the way to make tadka, see, if you don't see oil floating around on your dals and rasam and sambar and all of those things, they don't need oil. As simple, because do you taste oil in all of those things? You don't taste oil, right? You just taste the vegetable, you taste the masalas and all that. So they don't need oil. They just need a lot of these masalas and you'll be okay. So how to do the tadka? So what is the traditional way of doing? You put oil, you put mustard, you put jeera, then urad dal, chana dal. If there are peanuts, you put that also. And then you keep roasting like this. They'll all become, they'll achieve golden brown color. And then, so that is tadka. Now, what if you don't put oil? Will it not happen? It will happen then also. But why haven't we not tried that? Because our parents, our mothers, our grandmothers were doing like that. We thought that we cannot do tadka or seasoning without oil. That is our mindset. So it is just an unlearning and learning a new concept. Before oil was introduced, people still used cooking in their life. So obviously they cooked without oil. So this is how we are cooking without oil. So you take, it's best to do all of these dry frying and all that in an iron container. So take a small iron heavy bottomed container or in a steel heavy bottom container. So just roast mustard like this, it will splutter. If you roast jeera also, it will get roasted. If you roast urad dal also, it will become slightly golden brown. If you use chana dal also, it becomes slightly golden brown. Especially in Tamil Nadu cooking and all that, they don't use oil for making all these powders. They just make it dry. So like that only, you'll have to do dry roasting. So what I do is, I do about 100 to 150 grams. And then I store it I just store it in small airtight containers. I have showed it in some of my pictures on the channel. So you can basically see that. So I don't do every day, I don't do tadka. I do it in bulk because they don't use oil, right? They don't get rancid or anything. And they're all in that crispy state for an extended period of time. So I just roast them in advance and then put it in my glass containers, glass bottles or something like that. And then they stay very nice and crispy. So every day when I do some sambar or rasam or whatever, I just take whatever spoons, one small spoon or 2 spoon or something. I just put it in them. That's it, it's done. Every day doing tadka is not necessary. And then you can use water to cook your vegetables instead of oil. Like you can, even if you don't use water, let's say, for example, oil for onion, capsicum, lady's finger, brinjal, all of those things, you can just keep roasting like this in medium flame or light flame, small sim. They become golden brown even at that time. Medium flame and all that, they'll aram se become golden brown. But typically all these onions and all that, we are going to use it with some other vegetable, right? We are just not going to use onion as it is. So when you use it with some other vegetable, which typically has water content like tomato or anything like that, then you'll actually not even notice that the roasting of onion. So it's best that you cook it with water also. And the taste is basically the same. There is not much of a difference. So you can use either dry like this or put water and then you can cook it. So most of the vegetables which use steam-based cooking, you can use a steamer and cook it. So for example, let's say I'm doing some vegetable curry. There is tadka anyway ready-made available. Then onion, if I have to fry, I will fry it separately. Then I'll take a steamer and put all these other vegetables. And then when I mix up all of these things and let's say put some spices or whatever, that becomes a nice vegetable itself. So the most of the time I just use chili and ginger in most of my vegetables. Otherwise, if I'm using curry powder or whatever, I use that. But this is the way I cook in my kitchen. Okay, so use iron containers or clay containers or steel containers. Don't use any aluminum, iodized aluminum, indalium, and all of those things, because those are heavy metals. They leach into your foods. Okay, so iron can be used for some of these. Don't use iron for mango, brinjal, mango, brinjal. Yeah, mango and brinjal typically don't use these. Don't use iron. For other things, you can use iron. So I don't use iron on a daily basis. I just use it for all these dry frying, like peanut dry frying or what is this called? Tadka frying and all of those things. Or onion also I use iron. But mostly I use heavy bottom steel or clay pots. Clay pots are very nice to use. You can also use clay, or there is also soapstone that is available that also can be used. But I have not used soapstone. I use majorly clay or steel. Clay is predominantly used in my house. So this is how oil-free cooking is done. And even for lemon rice or any of these things also, you just have to make all of these items separately. Like, for example, in lemon rice, tadka is anyway dry. Okay, so that is anyway going to come separately. Now there is rice. To the rice, I'm going to just add lemon, add salt. Okay, and then I just put in the grinder, I put some coconut, some ginger and some chili, and I grind it. I don't need to fry any of the, even chili, I don't need to fry at all. I just put that raw thing into this rice, and I mix up this whole thing, add some coriander on top. It becomes a beautiful lemon rice. So there is, sky is the limit to what you can actually do with oil-free cooking. Oil is definitely not necessary, because if you put oil, what happens? Your tongue will get coated. You will not even understand that you're actually losing out on the actual flavors of all of these things by using oil in your food. Once you get used to oil-free cooking, you will not like oil in your food, because the flavors, the oil actually makes you feel very greasy once you start tasting oil-free cooking. So you can try this. It's not rocket science or anything. It is just that it takes some mindset change to do this. Many people say, I'm using just 1 spoon of oil, just half a spoon of oil using. For what are you using? How is this half a spoon even showing any difference in your cooking, right? Any difference in taste? It is just your mind. So either go full bang on oil or go full bang without oil, because there is no middle path on all of these things. And 1 spoon of oil, 1 spoon of oil, all of these things, you are just doing it at the cost of your health. And most of the diabetes issues and all of those things are because of all these fats that we keep eating on a daily basis. And then every time you anyway have cooked food, body's digestion is working in an SOS fashion, is going through a stressful digestion process. But unfortunately, the habits have become so deep inside us that we are not willing to let go of cooked food. But then over time, the more we have raw, the more we have fruits and all that, your cravings will come down. And then give it that time, and then you'll aram say move. Don't try to do many things by willpower. Over time, your body itself will start teaching you to go towards that path. But then remember that your direction is towards that side. Don't settle in one place. thinking that, okay, this is my retirement. I'm going to retire in this stage of plant-based lifestyle. There is no retirement. You have to keep moving. That is what it is. Your body will keep pushing you with diseases over a period of time. And then it's a good thing. Let the diseases come. You will learn to move forward in your life. And then without diseases, if you want to move forward, then it has to be very proactive. With diseases, if the disease has to push you, then it is a reactive based approach in life. So either way, this is how we'll have to do things. Here, if you see oil-free cooking YouTube video list is again mine only. Then I have done a lot of videos for school dabbas, mostly gluten-free, grain-free options on the school dabbas. I don't use oil. It's all plant-based. And yeah, there are so many things there that actually you can use. More than 120, 25 recipes are there. You can explore these things. And yeah, if you have any questions, either you can comment on the Instagram itself, or you can come to this WhatsApp group and you can ask, or you can ask on YouTube. So either way, you can ask wherever you want. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing and then open the thing for questions. Let me start with chats today. So no, I don't have any videos myself because I've stopped making curd very long back. There are plenty of videos for which I have sent the links, simmer. There are ready-made, clean-looking coconut milk powders online. These can be mixed with warm water. What is your opinion? Yeah, if the ingredients are clean, Priya, you can definitely do that. Okay, so just ensure that it is just coconut and just desiccated coconut powder. I think that is desiccated coconut powder. You can definitely use that. Please suggest which coconut milk products we can buy. So I don't use from outside, Nidhi. Curd, I'm using something from One Good or Good Milk Company. I don't buy their milk or butters or any of these things because personally, I don't use any of those products that are there in those ingredients. So I prefer using only curd because of that. So One Good peanut curd is good, but it doesn't have the tanginess in it. Can we squeeze a lemon in it? Yeah, sure, you can use this. We all do. We all squeeze a lemon for our raitas and all that. You can do that. How much time does it take to become curd? So the same time that a dairy curd takes to become curd, depending on the temperature in your city or in your place, it becomes the same thing. The first time that you make it might slightly take longer. Ma'am, nowadays someone says that oven, please don't use microwave. You can use OTG, the baking thing. There is a convection oven even in microwave, but I don't use microwaves because of the way the food is heated in that container, in the thing. So I use oven, which is a proper conventional oven. It is called OTG, oven, toaster and grill. You can also use an air fryer, which is available in the market. But of course, air fryers have Teflon coating. So see if you can use parchment paper or something like that, and then that is some amount of reduction in it's like, see, when we have teenagers at home and we have children at home and we are growing, trying to help them go plant-based, and they have a lot of peer pressure outside. So I do some of these compromises at home where we do baking, where we do air frying, cooking and all of those things, just to ensure that they are not missing anything outside. We do pizzas at home. We are not baking anything very complex and not going out of the plant-based lifestyle. We are not using oils. We are not using any, all of those things we are not using, preservatives and all that, tasting agents, all of those things we are not using. But in the home itself, whatever possible, we try to bend the rules and then try to do. It's like, although we know that it's best to remain raw and all, children may not be ready for that all the time. Even if you start off the children on that kind of lifestyle, over time when they get exposed to others, the parents must be geared up to understand how they can manage some of these things with a lot of harmony. So these things we do. Please don't use micro oven. Okay, it's not good even for heating and all that. Best to use gas, or I don't use OTG and all for heating. It's best to use gas or cooker, steamer, all of these things. Yeah, so Parinita Didi, because of radiation, avoid using, yes. Then some people say to use tomatoes and green peppers without the skin and seeds. Is it valid suggestion? Nothing like that. Please don't worry anything about vegetables unless you understand why they are saying so and it really resonates and it makes sense to you. Don't really pay attention to some of these suggestions. Don't use non-stick containers. They may be very fancy to use, but then over time the Teflon coating and all that will leach into the body. It's best to use iron containers, clay containers, or steel, heavy bottomed steel containers. Very good ones we get these days. So please use these things. So it is best to take care of our health like that. I don't use even copper containers a lot, majorly because copper is also alien to our body. So iron, we have iron in our blood. So iron may not be that alien to our body, but any form of cooking is anyway it's anyway alien to our body. But then in that option, I typically use only iron. I don't even use copper containers. Then dhokla tadka can be made with roasted mustard. See, dhokla tadka, maybe you can just add some. See, dhokla itself is like idli, right? So even if you put a little bit of water and then mix all of the tadka or lemon and put all of those tadkas and then just put it on top of that also, the water will be absorbed by the tadka by the dhokla. So they will never know that oil was missed out in the process. So try to do some of these things at least for yourself and then see how it feels. Then you extend it to the family. How to go about making dosa oil-free? So the way to do dosa oil-free is take a seasoned iron tawa, and then the way I do it is I put 1 drop of oil, because if it is dry, the dosa will basically stick. So first of all, dosa batter has to be slightly on the thicker side. That is one tip. Second tip is you put 1 drop of oil and then smear it everywhere. Then take some tissue, wipe it off completely. Now that oil has already been absorbed by the tissue, but the tawa is not actually dry. It is not absolute dry. So from then onwards, start with one small dosa. That small dosa sometimes it may or may not turn out so well, majorly because the tawa also may not be heated. So I have done some of the videos on dosa also recently. You all can also watch. Then from the second dosa onwards, you just sprinkle water and then cover it with a lid. Put the dosa and then cover it with a lid. It actually works beautifully. People who are making it in non-stick containers might have to sort of get used to the iron containers or iron tawas. Slowly, you'll get used to it. I think Indus on Amazon, they make good iron containers. So you can try to use those things. They are pre-seasoned, I think. Okay. Use a very sharp spatula or something like that to remove the dosas. Okay. So I have a knife. I have a sharp knife, a blunt knife. I mean, it is sharp in the center, but I can't use that knife to cut vegetables or something like that. So I have an iron knife and I maintain that knife and I use it for dosa. So you'll find your convenience over a period of time. How can we manage when we go out on vacations, when we go to meet relatives for a very long time? So typically when you go out for vacations and all that, obviously you can't expect oil-free cooking in those resorts and all that. But if you go there, I'll talk about how do we manage social situations and all that. In that class, I'll talk about that. Ma'am, even I bake cakes, can you please suggest some chocolate cake recipes? Oh, this is something that I can't do in this class. Please look on my Instagram and then you'll probably find something. Can we heat coconut milk? You can heat coconut milk, but you don't take it to boiling temperatures. Just keep stirring it, it should work. It'll get that heat. We can steam also. I use a steamer for my cakes. Yeah, please. Is pressure cooking okay to do so? Does it lead to nutrition loss? See, first of all, the way I look at life is cooking itself is not our primary food. So when cooking itself is not primary, in that, why should I worry about, rather, let's say I'm using gluten-free cooking, or gluten-free foods, whole foods, oil-free, all of these changes. And then in my cooked food plate also, I'm bringing 50% of salads and all that. On top of that, I don't want to really break my head about whether I'm pressure cooking on open cooking on this and this cooking or that cooking. That much I want to make my life easy, because that if I make my life so complex, then I will whole day I'll be worrying about this is right, that is wrong, that is right, this is wrong. So make some fundamental assumptions, make some fundamental changes in your life, which is predominantly on the raw side. Cooking side, on the cooked food side, just keep it oil free, gluten free, and then just manage life the way it is. I had read it in an article about coconut milk is not to be boiled as it becomes bad cholesterol. Is it true? No, see, cholesterol does not come from plants. Cholesterol only comes from animals. Okay, so there is no cholesterol in plants at all. So even if you are suffering with cholesterol, it is because of you make cholesterol because you're an animal. And then you bring animal-based cholesterol, which is coming from meat or dairy, then yes, you have excess cholesterol in your body, not because of oils. You may have triglycerides or fats, but it is definitely not called cholesterol. What about water in copper bottles? I don't prefer using any, apart from steel, I don't use any other bottles, madam. I use glass and I use steel. I don't use any copper and all that, even though they say it's very good and all of those things. But see, what has happened is in the past, I have read some studies where copper pipes used to be used for supplying water before the government started to bring in PVC pipes and all that. There was a lot of this copper pipes that used to be used. And then over a period of time, what happens because of seasonal changes and because of the salts in the water and all of that, over time, coppers used to get oxidized and then they used to get leached up and then they entered our bodies. So copper over a period of time will get deposited in our liver as heavy metals, and then the liver will eventually weaken. So it's best to use a lot of steel containers or glass containers only, and or clay containers. So don't use too many fancy metal containers. Better to look for local vendors if available rather than all these depending. Yeah, your wish. Yeah, see, I'm not a Amazon promoter or something. But yeah, my iron items and all are purchased locally. It's your choice, where whatever is convenient to you. I'm just giving you options. So go whatever and buy wherever you want, not a problem. When fruits, especially berries, are tart, teeth become sensitive. What do we do? So usually I use it for smoothies and all that, madam. I don't eat berries. I don't prefer sour fruits. I don't like sour fruits. So my daughters like strawberries and all that. They like. I don't usually eat a lot. So I use it in my smoothies and I add a lot of dates and banana, and I remove all that feeling of that tartness. So it's your choice. Lemon especially, don't directly expose it to your teeth. Oh yeah, I think fruits tartness, I mean, if it's giving you numbness or sensitive sensation and all that, just check if your teeth itself is like that. So some of the sensitivity could be because of your lifestyle related issues also. As far as I remember, even strawberry has not given me any sensitivities, but lemon can corrode your teeth. So it's best that you don't have concentrated lemon directly into your mouth. Okay, so that was chat. Does anybody have any further questions? If you want to raise your hands, we can do that. Wow, no questions. Okay, Sapna. So my Instagram channel and YouTube channel is called Smita Hemadri. You can check up recipes there. And there is also something called Sharan India. Sharan India is also, they have a website. They also have a lot of recipes. You can check out Sharan India also. And then Sattvic Movement also have a lot of recipes. You can check them. They are also plant-based. So many of these people, they do plant-based recipes. So please do check out. What else is there? If somebody else remembers something, please suggest. Plenty of plant-based. If you look for oil-free cooking, there are many people these days who have oil-free recipes, right? Sharon has a lot of recipes. You can check out Sharon. They are also whole food plant-based. You can check them out. So somebody says Natural Lifestyle YouTube channel also has a lot of recipes. Yes, Sapna?
Yeah, hello Smita. Thank you for your today's session. Smita, I just missed few tips. You were talking about coconut milk. So can you just repeat those tips?
So coconut milk, the tip that you have to remember is it has to be used with hot water. Soak it with hot water and then grind it. And then don't directly grind.
Whether fresh or frozen.
Yeah, it's best to still soak it with hot water, and then they will sort of loosen up, and then they'll give a nice milk. And also don't directly grind any coconut that is sitting that is just out of the fridge. It will release oils and the coconut milk will spoil. Even other nut milks also, when the oil releases, it will spoil. And when you
soak it in the hot water.
Yeah. So, and then you can use the same water. Coconut milk, you can use the same water. The soaking water only you can use to grind. Yeah, when you keep these, let's say there is some coconut milk which is left over and then you keep it in the fridge, the fat will separate from the oil when it is in the fridge. It is not like it is spoiled. When you bring it out, you just have to shake it, they will come together. Always preserve all of these things in glass bottles. Don't use any other containers. Lots of glass is typically used in this lifestyle because they don't react with all these metals. Even juices, always store it in glass bottles. Prashant?
Thank you, ma'am, for today's session. My question was, is it possible or would it be beneficial if we exchange the dinner time and the fruits time? Because you suggested that till 11 o'clock we should hydrate the body with water, lemon water or coconut water. Then 11 o'clock, between 11 to 12 we can have fruits and salads, and then you suggested to have the cooked items for dinner, preferably between 5 to 6. So can we like change it? Like can we have the cooked item for lunch, like say 1:30 or 2 o'clock, and then can we have fruits and salads in the evening for the dinner?
Is it because you want to take it to the office or something?
Oh yeah, my wife cooks in the afternoon. She says eat it or leave.
Okay. So initially, if you're just changing your lifestyle, it's okay. You can maybe do that changes. But see, the liquids, right? Initially, you can take little bit of liquid in the morning. Whole day also, you can continue to keep drinking that liquid in installments. But overall quota, just keep it to 3 to 4 liters. In that, juices at least bring 1 liter.
Yeah.
1 liter is normal. But if you're fighting a disease, then increase the juice quantity. Okay, so that is a fundamental rule about liquids. Fruits have to be the first meal of the day. So which means fruits will be your breakfast only all the time.
Right.
Then if you want to switch the salads to dinner, you can switch the salads to dinner. No problem.
Right.
Because of these constraints that you have. But in all your cooked food plates, bring 50% of salad again. Why? Because that will go sit like concrete in your colon. We don't want that to happen.
Right. And my second question was, can we have the puff rice as snack? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think it's okay. Yeah, you can have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. See, because there are so many improvements we can make in our lifestyle, but then if you're just starting off, I think it's still okay. Although it is made with refined rice and all of that, but initially, since you're starting off and all of that, I think it's still okay to make some of those simple changes. You can also, I think you get even flakes of millets also these days. You can also try that. No questions today? Oh, sorry, I think I have overshot the limit. Okay, so we can wind up, I think. Thank you for your time. Yeah, brown rice, yeah, sure. You can also have brown rice, no problem. I'll send this PDF on WhatsApp.